When I swing that left hook, the human skull cannot take it.
Oh, big shot by McGregor.
Look at the clock closely. 10 seconds.
Oh, he's hurt.
Could he finish him here?
Nani?
I get it. I get it. Yeah. I work it out. I get it. I get it. Yeah. I took quarter water, sold it in bottles for $2. Coca-Cola came and bought it for beans. What the fuck? Have a baby by me, baby. Be a millionaire. I write the check before the baby comes.
How strong is Kratos from God of War? Right off the bat, I believe it's important to preface the importance of how strong you exactly determine where you should gather information for deciding just how strong this God of War is. People tend to go with one of two routes: going solely off of what's shown in the games, or going off of the lore/novels of the characters. It is now my onus to prove which one is more valid from there. Video games are generally very limited in what they can do, and this is due to the fact that it can be extremely difficult to display some things that a character can accomplish, because it may break the immersion, style, or flow of the game the directors are trying to go for. A great example to back up this point: what kind of game would God of War be if you killed every single normal enemy in one hit, or moved so fast everything seemed motionless all the time? It'd be pretty different and, well, boring. Many game designers I've spoken to for this video and researched, when it comes to this issue, almost all agree. Doing anything of the sort that could show Kratos' power consistently with all his lore all the time in game would be insanely difficult in terms of enjoyment and the actual money that would be needed to be spent just to make a game that high-paced at all times. You'd essentially be playing a planet-busting simulator. And of course, this is shown in other games as well. Say, for example, Bloodborne, where the hunter has a tool that can create small star explosions, whereas in the game, the explosions created just for the mechanics are nowhere even as big as a building. But why listen to me on this? Why not listen to the director of God of War himself, Cory Barlog?
No matter what game we worked on, and I think this was even with the handheld games, the first two games and the third game, and even the current game, people are like always pointing out, Kratos is a god, he can take down these giant creatures, yet he struggles with a chest. And I was like, guys, this is a concession you just sort of have to accept. It's like people who question, you know, where does Batman fill up the gas in the Batmobile before it was nuclear powered.
Yeah.
You know, you don't imagine him at 3 a.m. trying to get a fill up. And I think it is just one of those concessions that in order to get the dynamics within the game, yes, sometimes you have to struggle and press the button to lift up a gate.
Yeah.
But he can lift up, you know, the world with Atlas. And it is that you'd never, I think, be able to have any dynamics in the game if it was always adhering to that one reality.
Yeah.
For this video, let's specifically discuss Kratos from God of War 4 and how he's insanely underrated in comparison to what is shown in the previous games. Many people, for whatever reason, project this Wolverine, Logan-esque stigma onto Kratos in the 4th game, like he's this old, weakened man and nothing like he used to be, when that is not at all necessarily true. Throughout all of the 4th game, Kratos is struggling to hold back his godly anger and powers, and even attempts to hide them from his son Atreus. In Chapter 0 of the God of War 4 comic on the PlayStation Store, this is displayed very powerfully, with Kratos standing still and simply defending himself from a pack of wolves for hours until they get tired and simply leave him alone. He had no intent to kill or hurt them. And this is even exaggerated further when a bunch of trolls come to take out Kratos, and as despicable and disgusting as they are, when Kratos is forced to hurt and kill them, he is completely ashamed with himself and is disgusted and depressed just from killing these heinous trolls that have no morality whatsoever. This then begins to slowly change and dissipate when Kratos meets a Conor McGregor-like figure and has a Man of Steel type fight with him to defeat what would be the Norse god Baldur, the son of Odin and the one who represents that of light, without even using Kratos' full powers. Even after this battle, Kratos is still holding back most of the time to allow his son to grow stronger and more experienced. Not to mention, during the fight with Baldur, he was extremely worried about the collateral damage to his house where his son was hidden, because because he didn't want to expose that he had a son to Balder. So it's not so much that Kratos got massively weaker over the years, it's more so that his character development along with his son called for a form of pseudo nerf that didn't really stop Kratos from powering up and fighting gods later on when it mattered. If anything, it was great for the story, just not so great for scaling his strength when viewing it at first glance. Throughout the story, Kratos has great feats of strength, as would be consistent with his mythology of flipping over, say, a temple on a pivot and pushing a massive bridge through water that easily weighs over 1.1 million tons, lowballing. However, Kratos' most feats are actually shown really at the start and the very end of the game, and that is beating the ever-living fuck out of the god of light, Balder. Near the end of the game, you are inside of the world serpent attempting to find the second eye of Mimir. Suddenly, the world serpent shakes 3 times and caused Kratos and gang out and is shown to be unconscious. This act of knocking out the world engulfing serpent being Balder. Balder being the guy you just beat the shit out of earlier, just beat the Norse mythology's Ouroboros in around 3 large notable attacks. The serpent, Jormungand, or this thing,
It's the world serpent.
Take hold, boy!
I am!
What is it saying?
He wants to help us!
He needs some milk.
is one of the last remaining giants in Midgard that fought with the infamous god of strength and son of Odin, Thor. In the words of the goddess Freya, the battle between Thor and Jormungand was so titanic that it shook all of the 9 realms connected to the Yggdrasil, and would be followed up in legend that another battle would cause the serpent to be flung back in time. This battle between Thor and the giant was before the giant even grew to engulf all the world and possibly the 9 realms themselves. These realms are somewhat convoluted in size. Some express that Midgard is the universe, or that Midgard is the entire planet, with the other realms being other dimensions laying on the branches of the Yggdrasil itself. The Yggdrasil, also known as the World Tree, supports all of creation, time, space, death, rebirth, everything, and surpasses it, with every strand within the tree's branches and trunks surpassing time itself. With the realms having to be nestled on branches rather than strands, it's very clear they are too big to even sit on a strand that surpasses the concept of time-space. And with the World Serpent and Thor already proving they surpass time and space by casually shaking and warping numerous realms that are quite possibly their own universes laid atop each other, this would speak volumes of Balder and the Norse gods whom Kratos is now faced with. Feats such as the gods and Kratos surpassing these concepts are supported throughout even the game mechanics in the previous installations, in which you can collect multiple dewdrops from the Yggdrasil itself to power up Kratos. That means he gets amps that surpass time-space, and they only somewhat give him a boost, an abysmal one if anything. Kratos then retains or reobtains the Blades of Chaos that can even burn in a realm where fire cannot exist, and uses his true powers to defeat an even stronger and more passionate variant of Balder alongside Atreus. This Kratos is considered to be the most featless incarnation of Kratos, and for the most part, it may very well be one of them. Before time existed, the primordials created the universe and went to war. Later down the line, titans and giants were born, such as Cronos, the father of Zeus, and with his birth, time was also born. Cronos would then go off to defeat the embodiment of the universe, Uranus, the creation of Gaia. After such, Cronos would be surpassed by Zeus and his brothers, as well as being a second to Atlas, the strongest of the titans. So right off the bat, even within the gods, creating time and being the embodiment of the confirmed infinite universe isn't even top tier in the world of God of War. As a reminder as well, Kratos was stated to be able to hold the weight of the world up with Atlas and bear the entire weight of the cosmos, and casually overpowered and pretty much bullied Cronos, who created the concept of time throughout the infinite universe. In the realm of Hades, these realms was being made infinite in size by Helios and Nyx, was lit up at an infinite speed by Helios's light. Kratos and Helios then fight later on, with Kratos being able to dodge this infinite light speed pretty casually. This makes sense as well, as Kratos is easily able to obliterate Zeus's warriors, who have moves like the essence of Hyperion that can move at speeds of light casually and so forth. By the end of Kratos' journey through Greek mythology, he fights Zeus with the Blade of Olympia. Zeus, being the strongest of the gods, gets his ass completely pummeled and destroyed by Kratos. It is then revealed Kratos has the strongest power of the gods in the entire universe, the power of hope. This power surpasses all of the infinite scaling and feats all the other gods displayed throughout the game, and even the script writers consistently back this up as being valid. As in their own words, Zeus couldn't kill Kratos, Gaia couldn't kill Kratos, only Kratos can kill Kratos. And I absolutely guarantee that he and Atreus will use the same philosophy on the Nordic gods as well. Well, that's my God of War power scale. Put a lot of research into this, a little bit of effort. I tried to get Cory Barlog on for an interview or maybe a little discussion about this, but he's already had a few interviews that kind of touched up on what I was already going to ask him anyway, so we just used that instead. If you enjoyed the video and you're looking forward to more, you know, maybe hit that like button and consider subscribing. I am going to possibly consider doing Kratos versus Thanos, because some people have been actually asking me to, and now that Kratos has actually come out to be a lot stronger than a lot of people kind of getting credit for due to the game mechanics, I thought it might actually be valid. So other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed, and till next time.
If I'm not mistaken, we've yet to discuss the tale of the giant Bergelmir.
Oh yeah, I remember his shrine. It looked happier than the other ones, mostly.
It begins in an ocean of blood.
Finally, a story worth hearing.
If you remember, Ymir, the first giant, was fatally stabbed by Odin. It's in his blood our story starts. Ymir's magical guts poured out in a torrent so violent it threatened to flood all of creation. The Jotnar were unprepared, as the very last of them were washed away in the endless tide. Not just Ymir, but all of giant kind faced extinction. And so would Odin's victory have been complete. But Ymir's kind did not all perish that day. Staying afloat in the hollowed husk of a tree, the frost giant Bergelmir endured, as did his lady wife. For weeks they sailed, until finally they came upon a new land. They called it Jotunheim. And there they would start anew. As father and mother they would multiply exceedingly, and as king and queen they worked to make Jotunheim a land where giants would know no master but themselves. Bergelmir never sought revenge for Odin's slaughter. His vengeance was to live and prosper. He died at peace, a legion of his kin to mourn him. He would ever be known as Bergelmir the Beloved.
Bergelmir the Beloved. Huh. I've never heard a story end that way. Not a true one, anyway.
If you do, laddie.